We've had this fascinating series of looking at the historical mosques in South Africa. Not necessarily the oldest, but we've done that with the Awal Mosque and the Palm Street Mosque and many others, but many others too. And we'll talk about the Masjid al Islam, the Brixton Mosque. We'll talk about them coming up shortly with Naeem Jina. So looking forward to that conversation. Right now, we're going to have the Champion South Africa feature where we look at people and what they do and how they champion South Africa in their own way. One of them is a journalist that I certainly know pretty well, Zubeida Jaffer, award-winning South African journalist, author, and activist, and all those things in one. Zubeida, appreciate your time. Salaam alaikum.
Alaikum salam, Ashraf.
It's interesting. I'm talking
It's a
to the
lovely
guys
day
from
here.
Sahuk before. Thank you. It's interesting, Zubeida, that speaking to the guys from Sahuk about Hajj just before you, because we last met on the plains of Mina in that tent city on the Hajj. That's
Yes,
5 years ago. Incredibly.
it's incredible. It's incredible, Ashraf. We'll have to make a plan, eh?
Inshallah,
For me
soon.
to see you
Absolutely.
and your lovely
Well, it would be great to do that, yeah.
ones.
But listen, what I want to talk to you about now, this feature, Champion South Africa, is about people who we think are championing South Africa. So broad question to you: How do you champion South Africa, Zubaida?
I haven't. I think the most important thing is I haven't given up on our country, and I encourage people not to give up on our country, because the biggest challenge we have, besides all the other problems, is our mindset. When we have a negative mindset, then everything seems bleak and difficult. And when we decide, the Quran says you must be patient and you must persevere. Those are two very, very important ideas: patience and perseverance. And you'll come through all the difficulties. So I really believe in our country. I think we're going through a very hard, difficult time at the moment, but I feel that there are lots of people making an effort to change things. If you can't make that effort to change things, or you don't want to, at least don't rubbish everything, and give energy into the situation to help people actually fix the problems.
Well, we're going to find out how you're fixing it, but just picking up on the issue of rubbishing. I mean, how do you address someone who is understandably despondent about the country, who doesn't have your sense of a broader view, and I haven't given up? It's like, you know what, it's about me and my family, and quite literally I'm rather hurtful when people say that. What's your pushback to them?
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. I work mainly with young professionals and students, and I usually help them and say, make a list of everything in your life that is good, and then make a list of the things that are problems, and then you'll see. Tell me whether the list that's good is which list is longer. And most times the list that they make that is good is longer and than the list of problems. And so
Mm,
then they start seeing, you know, okay, I'm alive today. I have a roof over my head. I have eaten something. I've God has given me good health. Whole
mm,
range of
mm, mm.
things. I've got a lovely mother or a father, or I have a good neighbor. And so you start making that list. And most people, I've found that they, of course, except now the people caught in the floods in KZN, where they've been so traumatized.
Mm, mm,
But
mm.
even they, I say to my students, I've often said to them, what is it that if an earthquake comes and it swallows up your house and it swallows up everything, what is it that you will benefit you? What do you really need to have if you're going to walk off to another town
Mm,
that is
mm.
not had the earthquake?
And they say what?
They say all sorts of things like, you must have a belief in God. You must do that. Yes, yes, you have to have a belief in God, but you need to be able to do things. You need to be skilled. You must be able to, if you have to go somewhere else, you must be able to start all over again, and you must have certain skills. So you mustn't neglect that. If you're a carpenter, you must try and be a very good carpenter. You are a writer, if you must know how to use the computer, so very good skill. You need to have skills and work at that, so that if there's a major
Absolutely.
trauma, you can, you can start again.
Well, let's talk about your skills. I mean, so I mean, your skills is writing by and large, right? And let's talk about what is it and how have you used those skills in your life to the point. I mean, you have received acknowledgement after acknowledgement, award after award. I think the latest one was the one at Rhodes just recently, like a few weeks ago. In fact, tell me about that.
Yes, yes. I said to my mom when I received the Rhodes Award that I think they're just not looking for people to give awards to. They just give it to me, And she had such a good laugh. She's 95 years old, and she had such a good laugh. So because sometimes I feel a bit silly, but Alhamdulillah, I must be thankful, and there must be some reason behind this.
Yeah.
So yes, I've been very fortunate to
And
receive
perhaps
many.
just tell us, I mean, we don't have a lot of time for this, but I certainly want people to follow your information and therefore follow you on all social media platforms. But in terms of your skill of writing, I mean, perhaps just tell me about some of the significant milestones that you've achieved in writing and how you've impacted society doing just that.
Well, I always say that I started as a reporter, and really by chance, and you can see that story on my website under About Me. It was really by chance. I didn't choose journalism, so journalism chose me, and then eventually I felt that I wanted to evolve further, and I wanted to be a journalist in the sense that I that my writing would be at a higher level. And then at a certain point, I decided on getting a mentor. I'm just telling you in brief. And that was Albie Sachs after 1990 when he came back. And then I said I wanted to learn how to write books. I wanted to write books. And so all the time I've tried to up my skill, over the years. And I've looked for the teachers. If you want to be a really good radio announcer, you can choose Ashraf Garda, and you can watch him, can watch what he's doing, and you can learn with the steal with the eye. So a lot of the things we can learn, we don't have to do a formal education and say, oh, I don't have money to do this, I don't have money to do that. No, if you want to improve your English, then go on the internet and improve your English. There are many, exercises. If you want to do anything, it's all on the internet now. So I decided a little while ago that I always believed that I couldn't draw. From young, from school, I always believed I couldn't. And then when I was about 60, I decided, no, I must learn to draw. If my diva can draw, then I must be able to draw. And so I found a friend of mine who's a doctor, but she's also an artist. And she showed me some basics, and I practiced, and now I can draw. I mean, I'm not a marvelous drawer, but I can draw. I'm not scared anymore. I can't hear you, Ashraf.
Hopefully, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, I was saying, interesting you say that because I've committed myself, and I said so even yesterday by a tweet, to at least learn a new skill once a month, just one new skill, but to learn a new fact daily. So, but the point that you made earlier on, and I think is important, is the to have the humility to want to learn and therefore seek advice, and whether the advice is one on one or whether it's just reading their works or watching how they present, it must come from the humility to say, I want to learn from someone who knows more than me, isn't it?
Yes, yes. It's only taking that step. I find with students, they say, I can't, I don't know what to do. I'm unemployed or whatever, and then I have to start from scratch and say to them, but what is it that you want to do? Or what is it possible for you to do? Can you go to the school nearby and
Mm.
offer to help tutor the kids? Is there something that both is possible to do and that you would like doing, enjoy doing?
Yeah.
And once you've decided that, then you take that next step. But you can't say, if you don't decide what it is you can do, then you can't even start. So if you, for example, go and you go tutors, I tell the principal, I can help with, grade 6, grade 7, whatever, then you are getting into something, and that usually leads to something else. But if you're sitting there and you're saying, I'll never get a job, I'm unemployed, you may not get a job, but you will get something to do. And then that
Mm.
doing of something leads to, and I've seen that with people. I've seen that,
Well, that's I
so
think
often.
I think that's very good advice. I mean, I certainly would be happy to call you a champion journalist. So, what for you is your skill? I mean, if you look at it, I mean, there's 1,000 journalists in the country, but there's something that sets you apart. What do you think that is?
I can't decide what sets me apart. Ashraf, you have to tell me what you think sets me apart.
Okay.
I just think I am highly skilled. I've tried. I can do all. I taught myself, and I studied broadcast journalism, radio. I studied all the things. And I've practiced, done all radio work. I've done, and then now I run websites. So every time I add another skill. And but I think it's about more than that. It's about authenticity. It's about people trusting one. And I've been told over the years many secrets.
Okay.
And I haven't disclosed those secrets, of some very powerful people. And so I think you have to build trust, and you have to build that people will trust you. And
Yeah, I
that's
think that's a very
probably
good
the
point.
most
Yeah.
important thing
Well,
with journalists.
lastly, I'm going to certainly get the people of Joburg to get into reading your book about Charlotte Maxeke, because they would know that hospital, and of course, the hospital is named after her. But that's a great book that you've written. But I'll leave them to read it. Lastly, I mean, I want to just draw reference to World Press Freedom Day, and some issues that were you around highlighting the importance of press freedom. Tell me about that.
I couldn't hear what you said now. World Press Freedom Day, the importance
Yeah,
of?
I was saying I want to just draw attention to your drive for press freedom and World Press Freedom Day. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Uh, yeah. Okay. Go
yes.
ahead.
Yeah, through the journalist, the website, one of the websites that I run my own website and the journalist. I've been writing about consistently about World Press Freedom Day every year, and slowly through that process discovered that it was African journalists that gifted the world, World Press Freedom Day. And this has never been, this is, the UNESCO event has never in the past highlighted this. But last year we did a special edition for the conference, and we focused on the contribution of the African journalists. And this year now, after we sent out the article on the webinar that we will have on Thursday, um, then suddenly somebody sent me a story from France, and he was the person that was the UNESCO, you could say, civil servant to help, bring May the
Mm,
3rd
mm,
onto the global agenda. And confirmed. I knew this, but I hadn't confirmed it. He confirmed that it was African diplomats, especially a diplomat from Niger, who had driven this whole process. And so we carry the story now on the journalist, and I think it's in a magnificent, acknowledgement, because
okay.
essentially, Ashraf, and that's what the journalist is about, that we should have agency. We should acknowledge what we have done, because often it's everybody else who takes credit for what we have done. And this has to stop. The students have to see that, oh my God, we gifted World Press Freedom Day to the world. How amazing! How amazing! Why
I
are they
think that
not learning that? They're not learning
I think
that.
it's so I think that's
And
so important. And just quickly, your quick thoughts on the importance of press freedom and what it means to you and should mean to all of us. I don't know if you can hear me now. I think
well,
there's some. Yeah, go
we're
ahead.
very fortunate. We've got a lot wrong with our country. We got a lot wrong with our country at this point that needs to be fixed. But I must say, and we've got difficulties in the media industry. But one thing we have gotten right in our country is that people are allowed to say what they think, and people are allowed to express their craziest of ideas. And I think that that is very healthy, not very comfortable always, but very healthy. And that's very important, because if we hear what everybody's saying, then we can start, fixing the problems.
Well, there you are. So I
So
tell you what,
press
great
freedom in
chatting
that
to you. I mean,
sense is
the
absolutely.
plan was to amplify the work that you do, and I've only hosting the show in Ramadan, so this is like my last, in fact, my last guest. So it's a privilege to speak to you today. But I'm clearly on side with the fact that you, Zubeida Jaffer, is someone who, through your work, has been championing South Africa from the first time that I know you, and of course, long time before that. So thanks for your time, appreciate it. Ramadan Mubarak to you and your family, and yeah, inshallah,
Thank you.
hopefully we will meet up soon. Inshallah, it'll be great.
Sure. I just want to add one thing, and that is that people, if they want to buy my books, they should buy it online at my online shop. Number 10 Publishers. They can get to it through my website, Zubeida Jaffer. But they must
Okay,
buy
great.
directly from me, because that's going to benefit my work. Thank you.
Well, feel free to tag me and tag Salam Media on all the links that you have. I'm going to gladly share that. All right. I've done it before, but I'll do it again. Absolutely. Right. There we are. Zubeida
Thank
Jaffer.
you,
So
Uncle.
that's it in terms of. Thank you. That's
Allah.
so we should have been chatting to Naeem Jinnah from the Masjid al Islam Brixton. Can't get hold of him. I do know they're going to have Tambisa Fakeda talking tomorrow. In fact, we're going to get Naeem. I think we can get him in a moment. But just before we get to him, considering we're talking Eid, we're going to get to Walid Bhatta's fascinating nasheed about, and it's called the Day of Eid. Before we get to that, Sentio, by the way, is an ethically based asset manager that is focused on delivering superior risk adjusted returns for their clients, regardless of market conditions. For more info on their Sharia investment products, visit their website, sanchocapital.com, and start sailing towards your investment goals today. Sancho Capital Management, invest for good. Sancho Capital Management is an authorized financial services provider. Okay, enjoy.